Hello, everybody, and welcome to a fantastic, we have a stream today that I think everyone's going to really enjoy with some wonderful friends. Mary Crowley, who's the founder of Ocean Voyages Institute, and she's going to introduce some of her team. Mary has been doing extraordinary work in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Last year, she pulled a record 42 tons of marine plastic out of the ocean. And Mary, you're really our hero. You're out there doing it. It's extraordinary and always a pleasure. Our dear friend and the co-founder of Mission Resolve, Mary, we're so excited to hear what you've got coming up, and congratulations last year, 42 tons. It's unbelievable what you and your team have been doing. So can you say hi and tell people what's about to happen with this next mission? Really exciting.
Sure. Well, we felt very lucky to be out there again this year, and we had to scale back our expectations. Last year when we came in, I wanted this year to bring in 10 times as much debris. I need over 400 tons, but COVID caused some scale back, but we really saw how important it is to clean our ocean. I mean, as my friend Sylvia Earle says, you know, 2 out of 3 of our breaths come from the ocean. And so keeping a healthy ocean is important to the humans all over in terms of health of the air we're breathing. And so we went out there on a longer mission, the same wonderful sailing cargo ship we used last year, and we'll be coming back into Honolulu on June 23rd in a week, and we will be having a press conference there and examining the results and everything we have done. And so we're just thrilled. So should I introduce some of my...
Yeah, please. Why don't you bring in your amazing team and we'll say hi to Charles and Rocky. Yeah.
Are here with us. Charles was very involved in everything we've been doing over the years. Last year, he was particularly involved in picking drone pilots who we use to spot debris and record what's going on. Charles is quite famous in many circles as for his passion for our ocean. He was producer in one of the major filmers of the Academy Award-winning movie, The Cove, and Charles is very creative and ready to continue being an ocean hero. And Captain Locky MacLean, it's been an honor to have involved with us this year and continuing. One of the things that gives me lots of hope and faith for the scale up and results of our mission is people of the quality and skill level of Locky and Charles that can help us be doing great things in different parts of the world and go beyond just our ghost net, big plastic cleanup, to be fishing for plastics and using oil skimmers to remove crushed plastics and going through a whole range of activities. Locky has done a lot of operations, captaining and running ships all over the world for Sea Shepherd. He is very much an ocean hero for the ocean and all the ocean creatures, and does great things in Canada and the Salish Sea area. So it's a real pleasure to have both Locky and Charles. Maybe they can say a few words.
Great adventures, yes. And so Charles, congratulations on what a fantastic film on the Cove, and what a message the world needed to see. I know you were behind those cameras getting those images out to the world. So from the standpoint of this story that unfolds with you and Captain Locky and Mary, and people wanting to be engaged and share all of this, obviously the power of media and the storytelling, but what's about to happen, and how can people help, and what are the things that you're going to be able to do to bring that story so people can be part of Mary's journey with your team?
Well, I think, I mean, the great thing, it's what Mary has put together shows results, and it's the most efficient way to do this. I think Mary and I have a ton of mutual friends from the yachting world and ocean conservation over the years. So when I met her, we became great friends, and we have a lot of the same goals. And when she told me about using sailing cargo ships, you're not out there burning diesel, so it's very cost effective. So getting these missions done, what we did last year with 42 tons, it was amazing. I don't think anybody's calculated what it costs per ton, but it's super efficient, and they do a great job. The crew is from Kiribati and a lot of island nations. But Mary's put together this amazing program, and I like that there's results. And I think what people can do is see what we have our vessel coming in next week, and we want to turn it around. We have the ability to replicate this, to scale it up, and we have the vessels lined up, more sailing vessels, which so it's the same program. And in the future, we also have local, more coastal fishing vessels. We can replicate this around the world too. So we've proven it. It's a template, and it's been very functional. And I like getting it done. This stuff, we have enough problems in the world, but this is going on in the middle of a pandemic, and Ocean Voyages Institute is jamming it. And so we'd love everybody to be able to support, to get some more vessels, get some more trackers, people with boats coming out and plant some more trackers. Working with you guys, with Mission Resolve and all your great work and a lot of collaboration. So I think it's a really good time, and this program and expedition that Ocean Voyages put together is the right thing at the right time. It's effective and it's working. So I'm honored to be part of it.
Yeah, and as people are watching this, and we're honored too to support Mary and the team. Anybody who wants to support the project, if you see the URL that's scrolling beneath, and you can see links below, every one of these dollars goes right to it. It's not about what Mission Resolve or these other organizations we're all happy to support. This goes right to Mary and to her team to get those boats out there. And to what Charles said, if you want results and people that are really getting it done in the ocean, our hats are off to you, Mary, because the numbers and the scale of what you've done is extraordinary. So, Captain Locky, do you want to talk a little bit to what Charles was saying about the vessels and how you actually what you do and how you pull the physically with the vessels involved, how this actually works out there in the ocean?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me, and big congratulations to Mary for being able to pull this off during the pandemic. It was an exciting and sort of suspenseful departure, with the crew having to quarantine for 3 weeks on the big island of Hawaii. And many conservation organizations, many marine organizations at the moment are grounded. They're onshore, they're at dock. It's very difficult for vessels to transit from one nation to another at the moment, and for crew members to go on and off vessels. So just the fact that this operation was able to go ahead this summer speaks volumes to Mary's organization and how she was able to really stay on track with the mission. But what I find so inspiring about this type of mission is that we're using traditional sail vessels on the one hand, and on the other hand, we're using state-of-the-art satellite technology, and bringing those two things together to basically cover an area which is wider than the United States. It's wider than the continental USA, from east coast to west coast. And this is a smallish vessel. It's a 110-foot vessel, basically plying a waterway as wide as the United States, looking for microscopic plastic and nets and consumer debris. But essentially, it's a needle in a haystack type operation. But thanks to the satellite technology, it's able to be extremely efficient and almost surgical, and it's honing in on this debris. So with what can be done on one vessel, we're just really excited about the possibility of scaling up the operation so that multiple vessels can be sent out, and we can start really collecting thousands of tons of plastic debris in the oceans.
Fantastic. So, Mary, to the point about the satellite, because it's amazing, you're pioneering a lot of the use of this Earth orbiting satellite to aid in this recovery and the removal. Can you talk a little bit about that? And I know we have a very special guest who's a huge fan of yours that wants to say hi as well. How are the satellites being used right now?
Well, you know, we have our GPS satellite technology that keeps track of the nets we've tagged, and you know, the nets end up being beacons really to areas that have some of the heaviest debris distribution. You know, there's been talk about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which I think the wording is not really accurate, because it's certainly not a patch. It's, as you expressed, this huge area. And I think people think sometimes about a plastic island. That photo showing one of our trackers there in the water, and there's no plastic island. But within this whole area, there's certain areas of heavier debris distribution, and the trackers lead us to those, and so they're very helpful. But I am anxious to welcome Dr. Barry Rock, who's going to talk to us a little bit about satellites, because we have been working with DeVita Street and NOAA Federal on trying to, and other satellite companies, on trying to see if we can spot plastics from space and have our vessel out there do some ground proofing. And it's trickier, which I think Dr. Rock could comment, it's trickier than one might think. That we did have one great success during our first trip, and it's one reason we so much want to raise funds to enlarge the scope of our second trip, because we feel very ready to do a lot more in that area of spotting plastics from space.
Yeah, well, I think from the great state of New Hampshire, we have our dear friend, Dr. Barry Rock. Barry, just so people know, Barry's fascinating background, in addition to being a professor emeritus at UNH, he was the chief scientist for the White House. And because of the success, Barry, with that amazing program with Forest Watch, with kids and all the schools, and using Earth orbiting satellite to do the study of ozone depletion, I think the White House gave you a call and said, we need a senior scientist, and you became the head for the GLOW program, which, to your credit, it's in over 135 countries around the world and 2 million kids. So you've got quite a legacy. So to Mary's point with the satellite work, which I know you're so passionate about, and it's a big part of her and her team's goals with using those tools. Can you talk about what this might look like as time unfolds with this new technology and Mary's idea with all these trackers, which everybody can support by donating below at the website while you're talking? Go ahead, my friend. Yeah.
Be happy to do that, Pachi. First of all, I'm pleased to be here. I'm trained as a botanist and a geologist. And as Pachi mentioned, back in 1994-95, I was invited by Vice President Al Gore to help him put together a K-12 hands-on science and education program called GLOBE. GLOBE is an acronym for Global Learning and Observations to Benefit the Environment. And one of my passions is to get students, pre-college students, K-12 students, engaged in authentic science, so that they're actually involved in collecting data and analyzing data. And we've done that in GLOBE. Pachi mentioned the program Forest Watch. Even first graders collecting data that was useful to me as a scientist. So that was great. Between 1981 and 1987, I joined NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The reason that I did that is I wanted to learn how to use satellite data to monitor forest health on the land, but also how to measure and quantify, characterize the kind of damage. And I was very successful in doing that. In terms of Mary's interest, we will be able to use thermal data from satellites. It will turn out that plastics change the thermal properties of water and do it over a fairly large area. These satellites that are in orbit are part of something NASA calls the A-Team. There are a series of 7 different satellites, all minutes apart, traveling in tandem, just like a plane. Some of them are radar, some of them are thermal, some of them are visible or visual. It's rather amazing. In using that particular kind of technology, a combination of thermal data, the water is going to have one sea surface temperature component, but the plastics end up having a different thermal signature. And we can detect that, which is very, very exciting. It also turns out that using infrared data, this is, I think most people think of thermal and infrared in the same breath, but in fact, infrared data, especially just outside of the visible range, it's not temperature, it's infrared, it's solar infrared. It turns out that water is absolutely black, a very strong absorber of infrared radiation. Plastics are not black, and so they stand out as a unique infrared signature, which is dynamic and exciting. Microwave, or radar, if you will, microwave satellites can actually see the change in the surface of the ocean that is the result of the plastics being there. And so I think we have a number of potential opportunities here to use satellite data to accomplish Mary's dream, and that is to be able to see this plastic trash from orbit. So I'm excited.
So Mary, so people get the perspective on this, because again, marine plastics is a hot topic. It gets discussed a lot. You have such a unique position, having done this so passionately for so many years with such a great team. Can you, from your perspective, what is the personal journey you're on, and why do you think it's so important with regards to the way that the world is today with marine plastics, and what would you like to see change?
Well, I mean, I believe right now is such an urgent time for action for our ocean, and has been in the last years. And I feel a particular passion to be accomplishing the at-sea cleanup portion, because many people sort of feel it's, you know, so far away, it's out of mind. But the fact is, these plastics kill whales and dolphins and sea turtles and tuna and swordfish, and they also are very destructive to reefs and to islands. And so we can use existing maritime equipment like this sailing cargo ship, which has a life going to remote islands delivering and picking up cargoes. Well, it makes them a perfect crew and a perfect ship to be removing plastics. And so many of the people involved in the maritime industry, from fishermen to shipping companies to work boats to these kind of particular sailing cargo ships, everybody that's been out at sea realizes that this is a very destructive thing. Our plastics that are toxic and last for hundreds of years are something that we get to clean up and to experience how successful we can be at removing them. So I just invite everybody to join us by financially supporting our mission, and by learning how they can avoid throw away plastics. You know, they can bring their own cup to Starbucks or Pete's, or they can use their own bags. They can have picnics with real plates and forks, and you know, we can all avoid plastics. Are great material if they're used for railroad ties or certain types of medical equipment, and but to be used as throwaway objects. And I think somehow doing the cleanup, particularly being highlighted by organizations such as Mission Resolve and other partners, is a way of educating people that, yes, we're in the middle of the ocean, and yes, that's our garbage out there floating around. And so we can all be part of the solution by doing cleanups in our neighborhoods, beaches, rivers, and by changing our consumption patterns. And we get the portion doing the heavy lifting of actual ocean cleanup to keep our precious ocean, the source of so much of our life force and air, healthy. So.
So to your point, with what Dr. Rock was explaining with the satellites, part of what you need help with, obviously, and please give generously, and if you can like it and give us a thumbs up, to share this with many of your friends as you can on your social channels below to get the word out about the great work Mary and her team is doing. We appreciate it. So Mary, how do the funds help you right now? Because I know you're trying to raise funds for the next mission. So if people make donations, how is this going to help you get there with your next 100-ton goal?
Well, people donating allow us to spend more time at sea on the ship, pulling out the actual debris. And, you know, it's the crew on board are magnificent crew, and they are so happy. You know, some days they may remove a ton of debris. Their biggest day I heard about on this last trip was 14 tons in a day, which is a huge amount. And they were going from sunrise to a couple hours past sunset, dealing with all of this trash. So it's quite something. And you know, maybe, and also as Dr. Rock was saying, you know, our goal is expanding globally. I mean, we're starting in this particular area, which is considered the dirtiest, the most filled with plastics. But we have issues in the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean and the South Pacific. And this could be so helped by being able to access good information via satellites. And maybe Charles could say a few words about drones and their use, and maybe Locky could talk a little bit about some of their work in the Sea of Cortez, getting nets and or maybe cleaning up Cocos Island. Locky's been part of many great programs and has such skill.
Sure, absolutely. I'll say a few words about our drone program, but first, Dr. Rock, I want to just mention that I don't know if you saw the movie The Cove, but I did all the thermal imaging for that, all the spy stuff, and I'm a level 1 thermographer using FLIR, so I get have a lot of connections with FLIR. And I did it in the Gulf of Mexico for the BP oil spill too. And I just knew that they would have a different signature. You just explained that it was black for reflected electromagnetic radiation. And I can't wait to talk with you further about that, because I know between that and AI, we're going to have a really good system that eventually we won't even need to put these trackers out there. But I'm really excited for that. So thank you for that. But what we've been doing out on the Kauai is we have several drone pilots using Mavic Pro 2s, and not only are they out there filming for cinematically, but they're a fantastic tool for scanning for ghost nets and you can actually fly grids and pre-programmed grids. There's all kinds of ways to do it, and then have people. What Mary's found is when you find one in one area, there's generally a lot of others. So it's an incredible resource, and you're going to see a lot more of our footage. And actually, I want to mention that if anybody watching this knows any drone pilots that want to go out in a couple of weeks, we'd need a couple more people. I just had a spine surgery. I'm not going on a vessel anytime in the next couple of months. So
Great invitation.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to go out there and fly some nice drones and you're experienced at flying at sea, get in touch with me or Mary or Pachi, and we'll get you out there, because we be ready to leave by maybe June 30th. So it's coming right up. And the other thing I want to mention is what people can do if they're watching. If you know anybody that's got a boat that's going from California to Hawaii or points west, or is involved with a yacht club or any ocean thing, if you get us to know somebody that's going, we'll get you a tracker, and we can get them to you. We have a bunch ready to go, and there's no special talents or skills. You just have to be able to click it in with a carabiner and turn it on, and we'll give you a very specific set of instructions. So anybody that's sailing out there, the other thing I want to mention is this is which makes it easier for drones, is this is the right time of year. This is our window, and that's the part of why the expedition that comes in this next week is so successful, because it is quite calm, and that's why the quick turnaround. So we need the funding to get this the second leg of this out there during this window. This isn't some off in the future dream. We're in the middle of it, doing it, and with everybody helping, you're directly making it increasing it exponentially. So we really appreciate that. But we have all these tools and satellites. It's fantastic, and we're going to be streamlining our tags, our trackers, which are, you saw some in some of the images, but the size of a basketball, a white basketball, and we're figuring out ways to produce them more efficiently and using technology as it comes around. So we're pretty, I know Locky's very dialed into that too. Is using what becomes available as it becomes available. So we're pretty fast, but we're not a huge bloated organization. We can move quickly.
So drone pilots wanted by Ocean Voyages, right?
and yachts and vessels transiting to Hawaii from California.
That is a great invite on both sides, either drones or vessels, right? So Captain Locky, to Mary's point, do you want to talk about that other cool work that you've been doing? And these are great stories come out of your team, Mary.
Yeah, that's what Charles was saying is very poignant. We get a small window each year to be able to carry out this campaign successfully, and those months are the June, July, August time of year when the North Pacific high pressure system moves up between the Gulf of Alaska and Hawaii, and we get these calm, oily days where it's easier for the drones and it's easier for the satellite imagery to pick up the plastic. So when the ship comes in on June 23rd, laden with, full of cargo, full of marine debris and ghost nets, we're going to try to get that ship right back out there as soon as possible. So this really is sort of a fun drive, I suppose, and we're really grateful for you guys to get the word out and help us get the word out on the second leg of the campaign. Having been involved in many ghost net operations over the last couple of decades, from the Cia Cortez, with ghost nets down there that are being illegally placed in areas which are habitats for endangered species, such as the vaquita porpoise, or around UNESCO World Heritage sites like Cocos Island in Costa Rica. These are tough campaigns. So organizations like Ocean Voyages use those funds so efficiently. I mean, Mary has a very small team. When a donation is made, it's going straight to the ship. Literally, it's going for fuel and it's going for provisions, so the ship can turn around and get back out there and get back out to sea. So we do have a small weather window in July, and we're hoping for a quick turnaround to be able to fill that cargo hold again with with plastic waste, and with it's estimated there's about 600,000 tons of ghost nets at any given time in our oceans, and something like 8 million tons of plastic added yearly into marine environments. So these are staggering amounts of plastic entering the oceans, the world oceans. So the results that Ocean Voyages are getting with just one ship are really impressive. So we hope to be able to scale that up and continue these missions in the future.
Fantastic. So with
Patchy, can I add one more thing? And I want to ask Mary if she can expound on our scientific collaborations, because we're with NASA, with University of Hawaii, with all the data that they're getting. It's not just cleaning up ghost nets and plastic. This is sort of the only scientific game in town right now out there, and it's very valuable information. Maybe Mary could tell her about our collaborators, if you would.
Yes, I've been collaborating since 2009 with a great team at the University of Hawaii, Manoa Pacific Research Area, Dr. Nikolai Maximenko and Dr. Jan Hofner, and they've been the expert modelers of ocean trash in the Pacific. They were very involved in modeling what was happening with the tsunami debris, but they've always been very generous and supportive with our mission of going out in 2009, 2010, 2012 on extended voyages where we were doing small scale cleanups, but what we were really doing was studying information, as we put together a marine debris collection think tank composed of naval architects and marine engineers and ocean industry people, so we could take the information that we studied by being out there and figure out the most efficient ways to adapt existing maritime equipment. And so that's kind of what we're doing now. But as for the last 3 years, we've been honored to be part of a NASA-funded multidisciplinary group, which includes our oceanographer friends at the University of Hawaii. It includes Dr. Lucas Centuri, who's very involved with the Global Drifter program, and he's at Scripps. It includes wonderful creative physicist at the University of Washington who had us deploy a device he's been working on for several years that's very innovative device about measuring all sorts of ocean data. And we work closely with Smithsonian and with biologists there and taking lots of biological samples. We work with Canadian government, wildlife and fisheries people. So it's been fascinating because, at first when I was part of this collaborative, I thought, here are all these PhD scientists, and here I am, a sailor, so to speak. And the fact is, I discovered that the biologist and the physicist and the ocean current experts all spoke different languages, so to speak, and had a lot to learn about each other's work.
Yeah.
And I had a role to play. They called me eyes on the ocean because I'd spent more time out on the ocean observing things. So this multidisciplinary collaboration has been wonderful. And this year, as so many people had to cancel their student voyages and research voyages, Kauai turned into a very active ocean research platform during our cleanup time. And we believe a lot in that collaborative sort of effort. So we're working to help the ocean in a wide range of different ways.
Fantastic. Well, we have a special friend, Mary. I know you'll be happy to see him, and I know he's a huge fan of yours. Mr. Farell is standing by. So can we bring in Joe to say hi? Mr. Farell.
Hey, guys and girls.
Hi, Joe.
How y'all doing? Hey, Mary, how are you, sir?
Good.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Miss Mary.
So we can talk about the wonderful
Hi,
work.
Mr. Farrell. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you, Charles.
So Joe, I know from the time you went out and met Mary how excited and impressed you were at the wonderful work that she's doing with Ocean Voyages. Do you want to share with everybody why you were so excited seeing firsthand and meeting Mary and learning about her team and the work she's doing? Why you were so excited from the first meeting?
Well, it was quite evident. I mean, it's to find someone that's out there actually getting something done and not just talking about it. Everyone's gloom and doom. We're in trouble, and yes, that's going to last forever, but it's going to even last longer if no one starts to try to pick this stuff up. And that was Mary. I heard she was going to be out there to give a presentation on what she had done. I flew right from Fort Lauderdale, Hawaii, just to listen to her for a 30 or 45-minute talk. I was amazed. But back when the plane the next day flew home, I was just never met anyone who was actually getting it done. Everyone was talking about and all kinds of money needed, and here's Mary putting it all together. So, it kind of really encouraged me as well. So now here we are trying to figure out how do we put this all together collectively, a lot more people and that. So yeah, that was how it all started.
Fantastic. And so Mary, because I know how excited you were to meet Joe with his legacy and background, like you, is the amount of years he spent really as one with the oceans, solving big environmental problems with Resolve Marine Group, and his passion and vision for mission resolve. Do you want to share with the group what it was like to meet Joe, and you were kindred spirits from the beginning? I know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when we met the first evening at my lecture, I knew we were kindred spirits, and the next day we met on a vessel and sat around, a few of us talking, and I knew.
And she's jumping on this supply boat like an 18-year-old. I'm like, what?
So, and Joe is such a solution-oriented person. I mean, his expertise his whole life has been creating solutions for different maritime occurrences that need to be, ships that need to be salvaged and rescued, and he's great at operations. And so the idea of us talking over challenging aspects of ocean cleanup together is wonderful. And so I value Joe very much as a collaborator, and we want to use his ship that's involved with Mission Resolve to be a mothership when we have our expanded fleet, because his ship has great communications capability and could help us, do all sorts of larger scale cleanups and do all sorts of good communications. There's a lot of film crews and journalists that want to understand what it's like to be out in one of these gyre plastic accumulation areas. And at some point, perhaps next year, having Joe's vessel with us could make a big difference, because exposing the media people to that also exposes the world, so they get a more accurate viewpoint of what's out there. And I see Dr. Rock nodding his head, and we can expose it to all the young people, and that just helps creating change. Some people are critical, believe it or not. I have a hard time believing it, but some people are critical of cleanup because they say, oh, you have to stop the flow, you have to stop it at the source. And I agree, I would love to stop the flow, but part of stopping the flow has to be really educating people on how important it is to do that. And you do that by exposing them to what's happening. You know, we have this beautiful, pristine oceanic wilderness that's turning into garbage dumps filled with our debris. And so, you know, it's something we can clean up, we can do. It also is something that provides a whole new avenue of jobs for island people and coastal people. You know, a lot of jobs have gone away because of overfishing. There's not enough fish to support the number of people that fishing used to support. And we can change that by turning some island countries, coastal areas into centers for repurposing and recycling. So there's jobs that support the communities that's all involved in making the ocean healthier and a healthier environment for fish, give fishing a break, let fish stocks return, make their home healthier and our precious ocean. So, you know, as you keep wisely saying, Pachi, you know, every dollar contributed allows us extra time out doing this important work on our next mission. And right now is the time we most need contributions in the next week to 10 days, because we're almost there to get our second expedition out. So thanks so much. And I don't know if there's any questions the audience is
Can I add one thing, Mary?
Sure.
If anybody that's listening to this knows anybody in Hawaii and wants to come down and greet the vessel, they'll probably, there's going to be a huge event around this also, and it'd be great to have people come down, or if they know people there, call them, give them a heads up. It'll be coming into Honolulu and offloading and things, and we'd love to make it a big celebration. And there'll be a huge announcement about what they brought in, and so it's all very exciting leading up to next week.
So everybody can be part of history by supporting Mary in this amazing mission that she's about to undertake. Where 42 tons were taken last year, and Mary and the team are looking to take over 100 tons. Before we go, because I know that, Joe, you've had some exciting conversations with Mary about your vision and having done some of the most complicated environmental cleanups in history on the maritime side. What are the things that, can you share with folks what your thoughts were with Mary talking about these fleets of vessels and the Lana Rose, and how this might look in the future with all these wonderful people getting together to support Mary and the team with the boats?
Thank you, Poch. Yeah, and by the way, thank you, Poch, for getting us all together as you are and pushing this. We just see the awareness what Mary's touching on, Poch, with the younger generation is limitless value, and that's a big thing that you're able to do with the Guy Harvey in the education with working with them. But it's you got the awareness. The awareness is the huge amount to get it out there. So I think we're on the road. It'd be fun to have numbers of these vessels out there. You know, they're not cheap, but as long as there's an effective mission for them to do, and tying it in with other stuff, some other studies of what are the fish, what are we doing out there in the ocean and the health. I think the awareness, and with the youngsters going forward, it's just a phenomenal potential there, and it needs to get done. It needs to get done, and that'll help stop, I think, the plastics. I think more people, I won't say embarrass them, but if you embarrass more people not to use plastic, at some point, it's going to be well heard, and we won't be having this problem. In the meantime, this stuff isn't going away unless people like Mary and hopefully our good selves or our resources will also be involved and pulling it out.
Yeah, so everybody who wants to be part of this historic mission in one way or the other, even your dollars can help get there, and they're looking for drone pilots and captains and that information, if you contact oceanvoyagesinstitute.org, please give generously. Mary is really one of the people in the world. Everyone knows the situation with the oceans. Mary is really getting it done with this amazing team of hers. So Mary, we're enormous fans, always thrilled to have a few minutes with you, especially when you get yourself together with Joe, good things happen. And then you add a guy like Dr. Rock, who's got over 2 million kids involved in climate science with 135 countries, and all these amazing producers like you, Charles, and captains like you, Captain MacLean. This has the potential to really do some great stuff. So with your support, everybody, please go to Mary's website, support her team. It is an extraordinary job they're doing. And then please give them a like. Please share the video to share within your social media channels, and we'll keep you posted, Mary, on the great work you're doing. This is the beginning of a lot of great stuff together, working in collaboration with the tribe, the Go Get It Done tribe, to Joe's point. Congratulations for all the work you and your team are doing. Thank you for taking a minute. Please stay tuned, give it a like, and please support Mary and the amazing team by clicking the link below.
Excuse me one sec, Pachi. Did you see your text I just sent, Pachi?
I'm looking.
One sec.
Yeah.
You on board with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, good. All righty. Well, anyways, we're, we've been fortunate. We've been helping people, and it's amazing. It's a great business model. The more you give, the more you get back in life. So, Mary, we're going to be able to commit with Mission Resolve $25,000 to your project here. So that, it'll do a little bit of something, but that's where we're at. We're all in, Mary.
Oh, thank you, Joe. That makes such a big difference. That money will really, really assist us, and I'm sure other of your audience who are donating as well, and your very generous donation will spur them on. So that is so appreciated, the money, and it's particularly appreciated that it's coming from you and Mission Resolve and showing how much you believe in our work, which is truly, truly an honor, because you're one of the top people in the world in the maritime industry. So I am so honored.
A lot of this stuff's got to go to Pachi. I'd have flamed out long ago on this submission. I'll give you a quick recycling thing we're doing right now, if it all goes well. Or maybe I shouldn't. Well, let's put it this way. I have a dry dock that was destroyed in the Bahamas. Had the largest cruise ship in the world when it kind of broke a little. So we had to pull the cruise ship out. We cut it in half, and now we're going to put a battleship into it, which needs to be. We're going to repair the dry dock and give them the dry dock to put an American battleship, World War II, for the youth, for history and all that. That's called recycling.
That's wonderful, Joe. I love that.
So we're all here because of Joe's generosity, Joe. So thank you for all you do.
I don't know about that. I think it's Mary's get it done. Guys talk a lot. Gals get things done.
So whoever's watching, to Joe's point, as a challenge, Mission Resolve with Joe's generosity, and luckily our team is able to help Mary with $25,000 coming from Mission Resolve. We challenge any other corporation or foundation to get behind us, with us, alongside us, to support Mary and a great team. It is incredible work. And so, Mary, you keep going, and however we can help, we're honored to be part of it in a little way. So God bless you.
Oh, well, thank you, Pachi. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Dr. Rock, and profound thanks to Locky and Charles. Without them and without the great team on the ship, none of this could be happening. I'm blessed to have wonderful people around me. So thank you so much.
Likewise. So bless you.
All right, Mary, thank you so much. Pachi, well done again. All right, guys.
Thank you, sir. So everyone, please support generously. The link below. Give it a like. Share it to all your social media channels. And we will see you next time here at Mission Resolve. God bless you all. Till next time.
Okay.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.